In this video, I want to show you some of the new things that iGEMS has done in their CAM 5X area. So if you have this module on the CAM tab, click on the 3D 5X icon there, and that'll bring you to this area here. So first thing, they've given you under preferences the option to do either a light or dark background there, however you like to do that. And let's see, we'll open up a little file here. All right, so we'll play with this pumpkin part here a little bit. This will show some of the new capabilities. Down here, right-hand corner, they've added some additional selections here for displaying things. So you can just uncheck or check boxes depending on how you want things to be displayed, transparent or solid on the model. I can also display your table. Yeah, so that gives you an idea how big the part is relative to your table. So we got a few of those different options there. Of course, still got the grid option. And I'll turn that grid off for now. Let's see, if you go into the curves area, of course, still the options for picking surfaces, picking edges. If you are picking edges and you get part way through it, then decide that you want to go back and continue, or you just miss a line, there's the continue option now. So if it's a open curve, you can click on continue and then come back in and select and continue on with picking edges and such. We'll just delete that for right now, because what we'll do here on this one is we'll just pick the surfaces here for this, since that's probably easier on this one. So we've got various curves here that it's recognized. So we've got that one that we want, that we don't care about. We'll delete that one, and we'll keep that. And this is, I believe, at the end of the pumpkin here. So we'll just delete that one. And then the other one is down there, so we'll delete that one. So that leaves us with those cuts there. These are just going to be straight through. So we're not going to worry about picking any lower curves on those ones. And then for the cut here at the end, we'll zoom in from this perspective here, and we'll go ahead and pick this edge here and that there. So that gives us that. So then, nice thing that they've added on the toolpath area, everything's on one page here. Before is multiple tabs. If we go ahead and we'll just add a cut here, and I'll pick this curve here and starting points, and we'll go all the way around in direction. Lower curve, I'm just going to hit enter, and then we'll add our lead in and lead out. So new thing they've added is if you want to add a bunch of cuts with those same type parameters that you just added there, you've got this double plus sign here. Before I do that, I'm going to change my standoff on this cut here, though. So right now, it'll be riding right on top of the part, basically, or whatever our standoff distance is from the part to the nozzle. If we want to give ourselves a little bit more leeway, depending on how accurately our part's going to follow our model, we've got the standoff number here. So if I increase that to 1/4 inch, then that'll lift my tooltip up an additional 1/4 inch, give me a little bit more leeway there. So then if I want to copy that over to these other cuts, use the double plus sign here, and then down at the bottom it says select tool upper curves, so I'll just pick the cuts that I want to add that to, and then just automatically adds the leads and everything. So kind of nice, because before you'd have to individually click on each of those to do that. And of course up here you've got your different names of your cuts, so you can go in there and rename these things to make things a little bit easier to distinguish what's what in a part. So left eye, etc. See if I can spell it right. All right. And if you did need to change anything for any particular cut, so if this cut here you felt that you could need to be closer or further away, you can always come in and adjust these individually. And then for this cut on the end here, we'll go back into transparent mode so I can pick that. I can click on the single plus sign again here, select upward curve, so I'll just zoom in here so we get inside. Get inside the pumpkin's head here, click on that, and then our start point. Let's come back and swing this around here a little bit. So we'll start up here, and we'll hit enter to go all the way around, and we'll go that direction, and we're not gonna do a lower curve again, so I'll just hit enter. And then for the lead-in, click automatic plane there, which should put it vertical like that. And we'll just click for our lead-in and lead out. So right now, since it's carrying over the parameters from the last cut, it's got the cut type is fixed. So we've got a couple different options under there. You could do ruled, which if you had an upper and lower curve, you can do ruled. You can also do now normal to surface. So it'll try to keep the tooltip normal to the surface. Now, there may be points where it gets confused based on the orientation, but you can go in and manually change your tool orientation. So you can click on this little modify button here, and you can either go in and manually type in numbers. You've also got this little icon here where you can swing your cutting head around. So we can take that and swing it around here. And then when it's red, it means it's in a mode where it's either like beyond the angle that the cutting head can go to or colliding with something. So if we go up, as I swing this around here, we'll go into a mode where will be blue here. And let's see, there we go. So that would be something where we shouldn't have any collision there. And then I can do the same thing for a couple other cuts. So I'm done with that one, so I can click, say, this cut here and do something similar. So I can swing this around, something like that. And when I'm done with that one, then I can come up and we'll pick one up here. We'll pick, say, that one up there. And again, we'll just kind of get this closer to perpendicular to the part there. And then we'll do the same thing with, say, this one back here. So I have to zoom in a little bit so I can get inside there and grab that. And modify that. And swing that around out here somewhere. And let's see, we'll do one more down here. So we're done with that one. Just go down to the last cut in the sequence here. Which should be that one there. We're going to swing that one around also. So let's see here, zoom out a little bit. Okay. So that looks reasonable, and then we'll actually go back to that first one to get that more in line with that last one that we just did there. So we can click on done back here and go up to number 1 there and just modify this one slightly so it's more in line with that other one there. And then also, so we got those ones. Now what we can do, there's a interpolate option, so you can basically click a couple points and then interpolate between those points. So if we come over to, so I can hold my control key down and say click on this one here, or sorry, let me click off of there. And see, go back to number 1 here, and then hold my shift key down, and that picks everything in between there. And then you've got this button here, interpolate, and so then it'll basically figure out the angle from those 2 lines that we had picked there. So then I can do the same thing if I go from, say, this one up here that we had changed the position on, and go back up to this one here, and hold my shift key down, and do the interpolate again. And then so that was through number 22 there, so that was that one, and we'll go down and pick those ones and interpolate, and then do the same thing from this one up to this one. So we also have the simulate button here that you can click on, and allows you to go through and see if you have any collision areas. So apparently believes that we have a collision here, so you can always go back and modify things. If we click on play, then we can follow it around and see if there's any other visible collisions or issues that we might have. Can define what different cutting head looks like. So this would actually be a water-only head that we'd probably use for this application. So we've got a couple different cutting heads here that I've defined, so you can switch between cutting heads and also see what effect that would have on any collisions. So these various cutting heads are defined through this little edit button right here. You open this up and you can plug in your different dimensions, and then it gives you that representation of the cutting head there. So we've got that. That looks pretty good now. And then, again, if I want to, I'll go ahead and rename that one. You can do a simulation of the entire part. So can also do a simulation of an entire part once you're back at this main toolpath screen here. Click on the play button down here, and we'll slow this down here a little bit. So then you can see in its entirety what it'll look like. And so you can do that cut by cut. And then once you're out of there, then you can click on this simulate and run through all of them. Of course, you can use the slider here, speed things up, slow things down. And then if you have an area where you might think that you might crash into something, you do also have the approach and retract commands. So if on this cut here at the end, if we're concerned that it might strike the pumpkin, we can use the approach and retract. So for the rapid approaching the cut for the initial path here, we can come into here and first of all select the plane that we want to retract on. So I can rotate this around. So we can have it go up and then come over somewhere, and then it'll come down to the part. And then at the end, you can do something similar for the retract. So you can have it pull away and then pull up. And then we'll do our simulate again. So now we'll see that it'll pull further away from the part and then come down and then come in towards the part. And then we can change our 0, point. So if you want to have your 0, point somewhere specific on the part, you can pick a point. We'll turn our snaps on. And let's see. We'll do it right there. And other nice thing you can do now is you can actually create a fixture from the model. So you go into this Tools tab, and a couple different types of fixtures that you can make. Grid fixture is one that's quite handy in that you can grab any of these fins here, you can move them. You can change the numbers, so if you decide that you only need 2, for example, you can click into these boxes and change those. And then you can move them wherever you want them. And you can do things like change the different gaps and openings and slot positions and such. So various variables here that you can change. Click on calculate. It'll show you what it looks like so far. So then if we want to change any of these numbers, we can just click into the box and change it to whatever we like. And then once you have it how you like it, you can click on this export button, and that'll put that back on the main iGEM screen. And then at this point, we can click on the create part button, and that'll create our toolpath for the actual part that we're cutting. So, of course, back here in the main iGEM screen, if you want to modify anything, you can. So if you just want to put in a smooth arc from here to here, you can do that. And we'll just go ahead and set our 0, point on this part here. And at this point, we can go in and do our 3D simulation. So in this area here, where it looks like we're going to hit our fixture, we can go back into the CAM 5X and make some changes. One thing we can do is we can lift the part off of the table, which should give us a little bit more room to drop this portion of the fixture down further. So we'll just exit out of here for right now and double click on the pumpkin to get back into the CAM 5X. So right now we've basically got the pumpkin sitting directly on top of the table. There's the Z position command here, so if we want to lift it off the table a couple inches, we can do that. And that lifted everything, the fixture as well as the pumpkin. But if we go back to the Tools tab, click on the Grid command again, then that'll drop that back down to the table. And then can adjust this number here. So click into there and change that to something like 4, and then that'll drop that down and probably give us enough clearance for the cutting head to get around there then. Could even go a little bit further if we wanted to. And that looks good there. So we'll go ahead and click on export again. So we've still got the original one that we did, which we can delete once we get back into the iGEM screen. So we'll go back to the CAM tab and click on create part and update this. All right, so we'll just delete that old fixture. And then we'll do our simulate again. So of course we can just go down to the pause this and we'll just go down to last cut since that's the one we were concerned about there. So now it looks like we shouldn't collide with the fixture, so that's good. So back here on the main iGEM screen, just take a look at the fixture here. So we've got the slots that these various pieces will fit into. So we got the Y1 and the Y2 that'll go into those slots there, and then X1 and X2, which will slide into those slots in the Y1, Y2, and it's got the identification marks on there that you can cut if you want to. So then you would just go ahead and create a part out of those and add the tool path and everything, and cut those out of plywood or whatever material that you want to use for your fixture, and then slide those together and then put your part on top of that. So it's a pretty nice feature that they've got there now. Any questions on that? Let us know. Thanks.